Good. Victoria, cut it out. Cut it out. Good evening,
I'm trying to
everybody.
do the role.
Well, welcome to Dance Moms. We welcome everybody to Authors Up. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. This has become our favorite place to be on Sunday nights, and we really hope that you are making it your favorite place as well. We have a great guest with us tonight, but first, I want to give my co host an opportunity to greet you this evening, and I want to greet them as well. Hey there, Ruth, how are you?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking. And I just want to welcome everybody, our viewers, our listeners. Thank you for being here. We wouldn't be a show without you.
Show
All
women.
righty, all righty. And how about you, Victoria? How are you?
I am fine. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Remember the little rascals used to do that?
We have some of our favorite viewers already in this evening. There's Naikayana. Good evening to you, Naikayana, and good evening to you, Linda. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that some of our regulars will be coming in very soon. This is one of those programs that you are going to remember for a while. I tell you, it's been great fun for us even before we got on the air. So
Yeah.
you know how we are. So we're going to have a good time this evening. And we're going to start like we usually do. And we usually start with a weekend review. And that's what we're going to get to right now. And Victoria's going to start us off tonight. Victoria, how was your week?
My week was really good since the last time you guys have we've been together. I've been to Florida and back. My today is actually my girlfriend's 60th birthday, and she had a birthday party last Saturday night. So I traveled to Florida to see her, and we had an amazing time. It was one of those celebrations of life truly. She had friends from I've known her since I was 10 years old. So we had, people from elementary school into high school, then college, and then the current churches where her and her husband serve. So like she said, when she came in the room, it was one room full of people that she loves, and you could
Uh,
feel it. It was just joyful, and I have carried that feeling back with me, and it's just amazing. I'll be 60 next year. I'm not having the biggest party as she had, but it was so nice. It was just so nice to see my old friends. I've seen people I hadn't seen in over 30 something years. It was just amazing. And I just thank God for that opportunity to travel safe and back. Glad it happened before Microsoft cut up, because I was on Delta and I heard Delta's really cutting up. So it just was the right timing for everything. And so it's been a good week. And of course, we're still off on the Friday. So I'm enjoying that. It was a 3-day week for me. So I'm just happy. I'm just happy.
gee, and that's such a surprise. You're happy.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Victoria is always happy and
I
always up
try
for
to be. I try to be. I'm not
something.
always happy, but I try to be.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You put on, what's the time about? Put on a happy face. You know
That's
how to
it.
put on a
That's it.
happy
Well,
face,
how was your week?
and you're glad about it. My week,
I'm gonna get a little drink on that one.
Lord have mercy. I need a drink on that one. But I am still here, and I'm glad I'm still here. I'll put it that
Amen.
way because we had a scare. I will say a scare the week before. I don't remember that I talked about it that much, but my daughter who went to the ER thinking
Hmm.
that she had um, some type of upper respiratory infection ended up having quadruple bypass surgery,
Yeah.
and she came home on Thursday, and we are just
Praise God. Praise
happy,
God.
happy
Yes.
that she made it through okay, and
Yeah.
she's you know she's doing well. She did well from the surgery, so we're all very happy with that and from that. And I was so looking forward to babying my adult baby.
I
I'm
know. I
so
know.
looking forward to her coming home and being able to help her out and everything. She came home Thursday. I
Mhm.
started feeling a little ugh on Tuesday, did a COVID test on Wednesday, and guess what? I'll be self quarantining for a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. So that
Life
was
just
my
be
week
lifing.
review.
Just be lifing.
Just life is just lifing, but I'm glad I can still say life is
Yes.
lifing, and
Yes.
I'm
Right.
glad about that. So if I have to tonight, I apologize for scratchy voice and all that good stuff, but if I have to mute out, I will, and you all will understand why I have gone away for a little bit.
We understand. We're
I
just
will
glad you're here tonight.
come back in as soon as I can. So that was my week in review. And Miss Ruth, how about you? What's going on in the world of Griffin?
Well, I have to say, you sound really good for just what, 4 or 5 days
Oh,
after.
great,
Well,
great.
yeah, you do, because I know that knocked me out. Up, no, the vaccine knocked me out. So
Wow.
COVID didn't. Yeah, I was not that well when I had it. So
Yeah, yeah,
kudos to you.
You're
yeah.
right.
Yeah. I'm,
Whew.
I'm I'm taking it in big chunks.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
That's it.
So,
That's it. So, all right. So I am, and it's not even self-proclaimed. I have people around me who call me a word nerd or geek, writing geek. So I'm gushing a little bit this week because I wanted to update you guys on the serial story that I've been writing. So
Mhm.
I am up to chapter 52 out of
woo,
63. So
wow.
5 more weeks.
Hats
I've been
off.
posting.
Hats off to you, Ruth.
I'm telling you. Oh my goodness.
Woo.
So it just, and it honestly, it's been a year now that I have been writing, posting, writing, posting. So it's not like, okay, I'm gonna write it, have it edited, beta read or any of that. I'm literally doing the whole process within like 6 to 7 hours and then posting the
Wow.
story.
It's been a
So
year already?
it's been a year already. I started
Wow.
August last year.
Oh my
But I
goodness.
started
Wow.
plotting it out in September. I started writing it and I started posting it in November. And I was supposed to end it November this year because it's 63 weeks.
Yeah.
But I've been doing 2 chapters a week. So and it has been such a learning process. I've gotten to the point now where I can write a chapter within like 7 hours,
Oh, good for
right from
you.
start to finish and post it. So
What?
it has been just exciting, and I'm telling you, the best part has been getting that reader feedback
Mhm.
directly, not waiting
Yeah.
until the book is done, and I'll know I'll
Right.
get some later, but
Yeah.
just some of the stuff they've written, and I read it somewhere else. We are writers. We write to get feedback. We write for people to read our stuff. So, and getting that feedback has just been incredible. I've got some of them right here. It's just like, OMG, this is so good. I'm waiting for the next chapter. Thank you for writing this. Great job on the story. Awesome chapter. Chef's kiss. I love your writing style. This is my favorite one. I had written a chapter where the main character was getting reamed out by his commander, and he states, your pride is going to get you killed one day. And the person commented and said, excuse me, what witchcraft you practice such that these words in this order instantly brought me to tears.
Oh,
So,
Oh, Rose.
again,
Yes.
you gush at this, because honestly, you want to hear this as a writer. You want to know that
Exactly.
your words are impacting
Yes.
people. So,
Good for
um,
you.
Trillian
like I said,
has dubbed you the goat.
Go. That's
that's
right.
it.
He
Yep, that's
is.
it.
Dubbed
So,
you the goat.
yep. So I've got, like I said,
GWOAT. Whoa.
but yeah. So I will update you, and I mentioned this before, but just having gone through this process almost a year, we're gonna do a show after I'm done on just the serializing process and everything I've learned through it because
Please.
it is an incredible form of writing.
Yeah.
And given that I think it was the original form of writing, it's important for people to know. It's not just, oh, well, some folks can do it. I think anybody can do this, and you
Yeah.
will get just it'll make a difference. It'll make a difference in how you write and all of that. So
Good for
yeah, I'm
you.
looking
I'm so
forward to
proud of you. I can't get a chapter
it.
done
Thank
a
you.
month, and you got one a week.
2 a week.
Woo,
So
girl. Woo.
Awesome.
yep, yep. So that was my
Yeah.
week, Victoria. What do we got tonight?
Well, tonight, well, congratulations to you. My
Thank you.
hat's off to you. My kufi off to you. My kufi off. We have a wonderful writer waiting in the wings for us tonight, Scott Ryan. So let me tell you guys a little bit about Mr. Ryan. Scott Ryan is a multifaceted author, publisher, and television historian. He is a pop culture and entertainment industry expert with a portfolio that spans oral histories, behind the scenes stories, and critical exploration of film and television. We're going to talk with him tonight about his latest book, The Last Decade of Cinema, which explores movies from the 90s. And he offers an analysis of their impact on pop culture, both at the time of their release and their lasting significance today. Mr. Ryan has a plethora of previous works, and he ventures into the realm of comic short stories, and he showcases his unique blend of wry humor and journalistic acumen. As the managing editor of the Blue Rose magazine and co founder of Fayetteville Mafia Press, Ryan has solidified his position as a raw and honest pop culture storyteller. He is also the co host of Tiger Talk on YouTube, which follows the Massillon Tigers high school football team. He also co wrote a book about the Tigers' state championship win in 2023 called Massillon Against the World. With all of this, it still burns him that he never won Employee of the Month at Video Time, where he learned to love film by stealing VHS tapes and movie posters. We'll discover more about Mr. Scott Ryan's books and his perspective on storytelling and pop culture when we return. We'll be right back.
Good evening, Scott.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for that intro. I don't know if I'm big enough to hold an audience through a commercial, but I like thinking that I am.
Oh yeah. Oh, most definitely.
And I gotta say, Ruth and Andrea, are you planning her party next year? She set it up. She told you about her friend's party. Oh, it was in Florida. She got a year.
We caught all that. We caught all that.
Yeah, it's not the first time. It's not the first time she's mentioned it. So
I just wanted to be sure. And
yes.
And Ruth, I would never put my work on the internet and get feedback from it. Like people would have told me to stop writing this book after I wrote like the first couple paragraphs. You're so brave, and I'm sorry I got a comment about everyone's weekend review.
Go ahead, please.
Andrea, I'm glad you didn't drop out and have Kamala Harris replace you.
Oh, God.
You're just going through.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So I apologize.
No.
For behaving like myself, but I loved your guys' beginning. I'm obsessed with this show.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, now it's your part of the show too. So we want to include you on this, and we want to find out because we've covered many different types of books here. This will be the first one on film, and certainly this will be the first time we've had anyone like you on our show.
Well,
So,
I would think
yes,
so. It's hard to find someone like me.
yes. I'll leave it at that. So, let's get started because I think we need to share this with everyone who's listening and watching. So, we all have our favorite films. We may even have our favorite eras. I'm a child of the 80s, so looking back on it now, some of those films, they were not award winning at all, but they were entertaining, if not a little cheesy. Um, your book, The Last Decade of Cinema, makes a case for the 90s films. You wrote, I began to believe that the 90s was the last decade of cinema for adults who wanted to think, feel, and be positively impacted by stories told through light and sound. Tell us about that. Tell us about your book. Floor is yours.
Well, thank you. So it was during COVID, and which I guess is going on still for some. I shouldn't say during. This was back when it was really bad and you couldn't leave
Right.
your house. And I just wanted to watch movies. You're just
Mhm.
at home. And all the new movies just were not doing it for me. They seem like the same story over and over again. And I found myself a movie that I would finish, I would just happen to notice it was from the 90s.
Mm.
And as I kept watching them, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so enthralled with how this is like moving me. And like, it's some movies were difficult to watch. Sometimes I was uncomfortable. And then I realized how much I loved that. I want a piece of art that can upset me or make me cry or make me laugh or make me angry. It's all the same. I just want to experience something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I don't think they do that anymore in movies. And so the more that I could think about that, the more I wanted to watch more. And then I probably overdid it a bit. I ended up watching 160 movies, but
Oh,
what are you going to do?
well,
Wow.
it was a pandemic. What else were you going to do?
Yeah, I mean, come on. You made banana bread. I watched 160 movies. That's all.
I discovered I could not make banana bread. And then
Which
we
is
created the
important.
show.
That's
So,
important too.
it was,
Right.
yes, it was all important.
That's good to know.
So how did you go from, realizing, okay, there's, this correlation and to going, I need to put this down in a book.
Well, it's sort of my MO. When I get an idea in my head, I hope that it goes away. That's the first thing that I hope happens because I don't want to do all the work that it takes to do this. But I couldn't let this go. And I thought I was going to do it more like theme based, like I would do a chapter on dramas or a chapter on
Mhm.
comedies. And I was that's why I was watching a bunch of movies. And then I realized that I thought it would be better to just pick 25 movies and really focus on them and sort
Okay.
of really dig into them. And I tried to pick 2 or 3 a year from 90 to 99. And then there were still too many. So in the back, there's 30 more movies. So I really write about 55 out of the 160 that I watched.
Okay.
And what movies did you guys like? I'd like to hear. You did
you
something
will.
that most hosts don't do. You crazily read my book, which, that is just, I'm not used to that. But what
Crazy.
movies landed for you guys in the 90s?
Well, I have to say, because I spoke with your, I was the one who reached out to your publisher, or she reached out to me, and just, going through the list, and number one, I was surprised. Not, well, I won't even call it surprise. I was pleasantly surprised that you went through genre. So it's not just, oh, I like, westerns, or I like, dramas or whatnot. You picked a little bit of everything. The fact that you got Pretty Woman in there, that is the first movie as a teen that I went to see by myself. You had just Shawshank Redemption. I have never met anyone who doesn't like that film. You had Clueless in there. That I will watch the movie from now until the end. So, it's just it was all of those, and your take on them. It was either that I learned something new or I appreciated your point of view. So
Oh, my
when you were
goodness.
very eloquent in how you spoke of them. Even like, the films like Menace to Society or The Birdcage, I would agree with you that those films probably could not be made today, not as they were back then, not, you know, and again, some of them might be problematic, with today's wokeness, but that is a reflection of the culture, that is a reflection of where we were, that is a reflection, I think, on who we were. And I think that that is important. So,
Right.
um, yeah, Victoria, what did your picks?
My picks. My favorite movie of all time was on the list in the 90s, Bridges of Madison County. That is my favorite movie of all. If anybody knows me knows I love that movie. I think I watched it once or twice. It's another one I won't watch again, but I absolutely love the movie for the story.
Yeah.
If you ever watch the movie and if you see how she changed when her love came around, she turned into a totally different person. And when my favorite scene is when she was in the car and she was trying to put her hand on the doorknob to whether to open it or close it, and she couldn't open it. Oh Lord, I just died. I died a little.
Yeah.
Because I thought, and that is why I love your book. Just throw this in here, y'all. Get the book. Get the book. I love the book because you are right about those movies in that era that made us think beyond what we were seeing. Because my mind immediately went with, in this particular movie, if she got out that car, her life would have changed forever. Not only her life, but her children's lives. It would have, and her husband's. It would have taken her down another path. Y'all got to go watch that movie too.
I just want to say, I have to say, it killed me not to do a main essay on that movie, but my rule was I only picked one movie per director. And so Clint Eastwood directed that, but he also directed Unforgiven. And like Ruth said, I was trying to pick one per genre, and that helped me get a Western in there. Yeah. And I really already had a love story with Pretty Woman. But I love that movie so much. I'm with you. I want her to get out of the car, and I think her kids are a bunch of jerks anyway.
Exactly.
Leave the kids behind. Run off.
Leave them jokers with their dad, right?
Yeah, let him make the meal for once in a while. I'm with you 100%.
Because her life, she was so disappointing when she came from Europe. She was just so disappointed.
Right.
We going to Iowa. What? Yeah. But and my other movie was As Good as It Gets. That's those are my two.
I like it. And As Good as It Gets, I do cover in the back of the book as well. And and that for a long time was going to be a main essay, but I got a little, I didn't, Ruth mentioned like wokeness, which I didn't want to get involved in that, and I don't in the book, because I don't understand taking today's morals and judging a piece of art from the past.
Right.
But in that movie, you'd kind of have to confront some things that are unpleasant. But as I write in the book, Jack Nicholson's character is described as the worst human being ever.
He is.
So he's going to say inappropriate things. Like, I know in today's society, we don't want anyone to say anything bad, but the worst person in the world probably, doesn't say the right thing at all time. But
I actually think that movie is still relevant today.
I do. I agree. Really but I agree with you 100%. I just wasn't brave enough to plop it up front. But there's an essay in the back on it.
So if you guys haven't seen that movie, watch As Good as It Gets. I promise you'll get something out of it.
Yeah, it's so good.
That's one thing that I enjoyed about the book, Scott, is that it brought to my mind movies that I had forgotten about and forgotten how much, I enjoyed them. Like just before going on air, we talked about Prince of Tides. Pretty Woman, of course, was up there. Shawshank Redemption was up there for me. And you went into Terminator, man. How many Terminators are there? At least 4, I'm sure.
Oh, I think they're about to 7 this now.
And I don't care. It's nothing like the first one.
Yeah, and
Keep them alive.
you mentioned the Matrix even in there. So there were so many that I was reading the book and I would go, oh, I got to watch that again. Or, oh, I need to see that again. Or, so you really caught a lot of my favorites
thank you.
In the book. But I want to ask you about something.
That's why I'm actually here. So bring it on.
Well, we thought about that, and I thought I can ask him. But there are 2 movies that came out about the same time, and I think they were in the early 90s. And even if they weren't, I want to ask you anyway because I know you love movies. But they were so similar. And it was Wyatt Earp and Tombstone. And I am a Tombstone fanatic. My family and I have watched Tombstone to the point where in the family chat in the morning, somebody will put, I'm your Huckleberry. And then, and then somebody else will write, I've got 2 guns, one for each of you. And this thing, and we dialogue. We know the dialogue to it. What did you think, if you have watched either or both, what did you think of those movies? And I know they're not in your book or anything, but I was just curious.
I hate to break your heart, but I have not seen it.
Go watch them.
And it's funny because normally in this scenario, I would just lie and say that I had. But when you started quoting the movie, I thought, I'm not getting out of this.
You better not do it.
Like, it's just not
Go
worth
stay in
it.
that car.
I would ask you to, I would love for you to take time to watch Tombstone. At least.
Yeah, because it sounds like Wyatt Earp is like a loser out there.
Yeah.
There's no Huckleberries in Wyatt Earp. Like, you want to be in the Tombstone. But here's what I will say from your story. Quoting movies to your family, to your friends, that is a second language of love that is so important. And, for me, it would be the movie Reality Bites, which I cover in this because I'm Gen X and it's a movie about Gen X. And there's just some throwaway scene where one of the characters wants people to leave and she says, let's locomote. I've said that since 94. If I'm trying to get the kids and everyone to go, I say, let's locomote. And you take things from movies like that. And especially if you've all watched it together.
Right.
So I love that. And I don't know, I don't want to sound too much like the old man on the front porch telling the kids to stay off the lawn, but I'm not sure that happens anymore because people consume things and before it can sit in their brain, it says next episode or watch this or don't even think about it. Click the next thing. But you've watched Tombstone so much and your family has that it's become part of your family.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And
but it's beautiful.
You mentioned the color purple too. I wanted to mention that. Did she mention the movie The Color Purple?
Right.
But I so enjoyed your take on some of the movies that I loved. And
I love that you love The Prince of Tides.
Yes. I
do all 3 of you love The Prince of Tides?
I can see Barbra Streisand.
You don't like Prince of Tides?
I haven't seen it.
Flying all over everywhere.
Ruth, if I have to watch Tombstone, you better watch Prince of Tides.
Okay.
Apparently.
You have to. You have to.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
You put your phone down. You don't be doing something else while you're watching Prince
You
of
will
Tides.
cry.
You gotta
You
let
will
that.
cry.
Well, you're gonna cry.
Yeah, if you're
Okay.
sappy like me, you will cry.
And even if you're not, you're gonna cry. It's just that kind of movie.
Oh, that movie right there.
It just has those kinds of moments, and I can just, just talking about it, the scenes are just, just coming back to me. I can hear his narration as he's talking about her, as he's driving down the road, and oh my goodness.
And he says Lowenstein.
Oh yes. I was just like,
don't even go down that road. I have to go get some Kleenex.
Doesn't Ruth feel like a huckleberry now?
And I think a good movie will do that. You all know, like you all seen Shawshank Redemption, right? So when I say get busy living or get busy dying,
there you go.
You know what I'm talking about.
That's it.
Yep. That theme, that right there. Trelyn said Ruth is not sappy.
Okay. So
we had to balance this trio out, so everybody has
sappy. They know I'm going to cry about everything. They know that.
But that's so beautiful to cry at a movie. It means that you let it into your heart. And I do have a chapter in the book called How to Watch a Movie 90s Style, where I tell people to put your phone away. You're not going to cry at a movie if you're seeing what your friend from high school ate at Wendy's. It doesn't matter. You want to know if Red is going to get the Rita Hayworth poster for Andy Dufresne.
Yes.
That's all you care about. Who cares what your kids are doing? You don't need the text saying, Mom, how long do you cook a pizza?
Right.
Who cares?
Yes.
We don't need it. You're in a movie, and it's supposed to take you away from this world.
I agree.
Yes.
Fully agree.
There's one word that you use that we very seldom hear when we talk about movies now, and the word is entertaining.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We used to go to the movies and they were entertaining. Right. And sometimes they made sense and sometimes they didn't. And sometimes I didn't care. I just wanted to escape and go somewhere else, and it didn't matter. I was the one sitting over in the corner going, it's a movie. Don't get so deep in your head and your thought process that you can't be entertained. It's a movie.
Right.
And so many, the ones that you've chosen to really delve into are perfect. And I don't know how you managed to make the choices that you made, but you picked some of my favorites, and I really, really enjoyed. I just enjoyed going through them and just seeing what your perspective was on some of them.
Oh, thank you. That's so kind. When the thing that's hard about selling this book or like pitching it to people is that it could be a very dry, boring book, but that isn't my style. And it's not, I'm not here to be like, and then they walk into the store and this happened. Like, it's not about that. It's all about what is the emotion of the movie. And then I tried to write within that and pick something from the movie. And I don't spoil any of the endings, like The Prince of Tides, which Ruth, we don't know why, has never seen it. But you could read that essay, and I don't spoil the ending because I'm not going to take that away from people. Now, I did talk about the ending of Shawshank Redemption, but let's be honest. If you haven't seen the Shawshank Redemption by now, where have you been?
Shame.
Yeah.
Now, I must say this about your book. I thought we was going to fight a little bit at first because when you started your book, you talked about not liking the superheroes movies, right? And I said, wait a minute, hold on now. But your perspective is, if you cannot like it, I can like it, and we still could agree. We still could come together. And I loved how you put that. It's amazing. Now, I only like the Marvel movies because I like the Hulk. I just like him. I like to see him smash stuff. But I agree with you that movies today have seen it recycled the same themes over and over. And who was it who said, how many Planet of the Apes movies can we have? Can we get a
Right.
new story?
Right. And that was my thing. I didn't say there should be no superhero movies.
Right, you did.
I'm just saying there shouldn't be only superhero movies.
Absolutely.
In
Right.
the same way that, they made Pulp Fiction, and Pulp Fiction is great, but I don't want every movie to be Pulp Fiction. That was
Right.
Pulp Fiction. I just want something new and unique. And I'm glad that you noticed that the movies I picked are all different from each other.
Yes.
And that was the point of the 90s. And these are not like small movies that you had to dig to find. These are movies that were on every video store shelf. They
Right.
came to every mall. I'm from a very small town in Massillon, Ohio, and every one of these movies came to my little town. So that's what I miss. Like, I like the Hulk. You don't think I like a smash? Sure, I like a smash. Who doesn't want to see someone sit on a car and the tires go? But I also like to see how a husband and wife repair their relationship at
Yes.
the darkest
Yes.
time of their lives.
Yes.
And sometimes I'm in the mood for that,
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
When
I don't-
Harry
To be
met
honest, I don't
Sally.
need that. I'm sorry, what?
When Harry met Sally.
Is that your
Yeah.
favorite movie?
That you chose that as I think a favorite, an all-time favorite. I think you said.
Yes, I said it's the greatest romantic comedy ever written is
Yeah.
When Harry Met Sally, but it's actually in '89.
Oh,
So
okay.
it is before the 90s. And that was my
That's
point, that my book is not to say that only decade of good movies was the 90s. That is not my point at all. When Harry Met Sally is from '89. I think, I love the movie. It's funny, I'm going blank, but it's like with Jim Carrey and, oh my gosh, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah.
It's a movie from 2002. Of course there's good movies all around, or Almost Famous, which is 2000. I love that movie. So there's a lot of great movies in all the decades. I just think they stopped making purely complex movies, and especially movies that make you uncomfortable. I talk a lot about Spike Lee in the book because
Mhm.
Spike Lee was so good at pushing your buttons.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love to sit in a theater and get a little uncomfortable and feel like, and have the characters do something that makes me angry.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and I think to be honest, we avoid that now because we don't want to feel that. And you said it earlier, these films were about emotions, and again, I rode that Marvel train for a little while until it just got too much for my brain, and at this point, I don't care. But I will still stop, and if something if it stirs my emotion, I will stop and watch it. I will stop and get on that train and go, okay, you got me for a couple hours. Let's see what you can do. So
Have any of you seen The Book of Clarence?
No.
no.
Y'all have got to see that.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
No, it wasn't for me.
It was for me. It gave a different perspective.
Work for me.
It didn't make you think.
Not good thoughts. It just-
I mean, we got a new Siskel and Ebert here. I like to see those two things on a poster. It didn't make you think?
I cried in that movie. I left the movie theater like I had experienced something, and it just affected
You
me
had?
profoundly.
You
Yeah,
probably
you did.
Okay,
You did.
she said I had.
And I'm happy that you did, but it did not have the same effect
Okay.
on me. And actually, I watched it because of you, because you spoke so highly of it, and you enjoyed it so much. And about halfway through, I thought,
What in the world?
I missed something because it just wasn't working for me.
Y'all watching? Y'all get back to me.
All right.
Traylon said she think it's horrible. She thought it was a horrible movie. Okay, all right.
And that's what's going on here is another point is that we
Mhm.
used to be able to say, I don't like this movie, I do like this movie, and you would stand in the aisles of Blockbuster Video or wherever you rented yours, and you'd argue about this movie, but you didn't
Yes.
get mad. You didn't unfriend
Right.
someone.
No,
You
no,
know,
right.
it didn't mean I was never going to talk to you again, although I don't think Victoria is going to get that 60th birthday party now.
Yeah,
But
it could happen. It could still happen.
At the very least, we're definitely not showing that movie during it. So.
Well, I want y'all to at least have some bubbles or something. It happens to be a Sunday, so we'll be on Office
the
Up that
Sunday,
day.
so it's there. But I mean, a cake with the poster of the Book of Clarence on.
That would be a dream.
I mean, I'm free that night if you need a guest.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We will send you the link.
I don't know. I think that is like a rating success for this show.
I think so too. I think so too.
That
Now,
is no, because when you would go to rent a movie, that's true. Because somebody in line would ask you, did you like
Did you
that?
watch this?
Did you enjoy it? And you get that dialogue going about the film. That's very true. And those are things that we don't get anymore.
And I have to say this, reading your introduction, your first chapter about your experience working at the video store, which is, I remember when Netflix first came out and I thought, oh, this will be great. There'll be more films. And I spent more time scrolling and looking for a movie and not knowing what to watch because
Right.
I won't say it was the abundance of choice. It was just, there was something so impersonal about that as opposed, even, when my kids were little, I still remember going to Blockbuster. Okay, we're going to pick this, or I heard this.
Right.
Or like Andrea said, I talked to someone, hey, what would you recommend? It was just such a different experience.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually
we
the
get today.
misdirection of choice. So you feel like you're getting choice when you're going through Netflix or
Mhm.
Max or Paramount Plus,
Mhm.
but you're not. What you're getting is the movies that studio owns, and that's
Yes.
it.
Yes.
At a video store, it was every movie.
Right.
It didn't matter. That video store didn't have a contract with Star Wars,
Right.
and they're refusing to rent you a Star Trek movie. Star
Right.
Trek and Star Wars sat side by side on the
Yes.
shelf. And that doesn't exist anymore. And
Right.
that's another thing that's missing. And it's why we're getting the same things over and over and over and over again.
I think so
Yeah.
too. And I think that at Blockbuster, your book made me want to go back to Blockbuster. It really did. Because I've said, man, I maybe miss Blockbuster. And you also knew it was a good movie if you went to Blockbuster to get it and it wasn't there. And
Right.
you had to get on the list to get this certain movie.
Or stand there, because I did work at a video store. That is true. I didn't just make it up. And we had tags that we would put out, and then the people would pick the tags up. And people would stand in front of Goodfellas for like an hour and a half waiting for someone to return Goodfellas so they could be the one to get it.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. That's
So, I mean, that's how much people cared about movies back then.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It was an event rather than background noise. I feel like that's what it's come down to. Because I know even when my daughter was in college, she would come home and she would put it on whatever streaming service, The Office was on. And she would just put it on play. And I had never seen it before. So I'm like looking at it the first time. I'm like, are you watching this? She's like, no, it's just on. I'm like,
I know, I hate that.
okay.
I just don't like that. I mean, I do listen to music all the time.
Yeah.
So I would rather have music on than just television. But when I'm going to watch something, I really want to consume it, or I want to turn it off and do something else. But, I do say in the end of the book, maybe this generation has it right. They have their priorities in a better place, not making movies and music. It's so important. But as a Gen X, like, it was all that mattered to me was movies and music, and I'm still that way.
Do you
I
have
agree.
anything else coming up? Are you working on anything else now?
Yeah, I'm starting my next book, which is about the music of Twin Peaks, which was a TV show from the 90s.
Yeah, I
by
remember Twin Peaks.
So I've been interviewing a bunch of the directors from the show and just how they did the music and stuff like that. So
Wow.
working on
Nice.
that next.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I always
Yeah.
have something up my sleeve that is old and everyone forgot about. That's like my specialty. Like, why
Not
can't I
everyone.
talk about something that's popular? But what are you gonna do?
Well, I want you to write a book on the bridges of Madison County and As Good as It Gets. Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. That's it.
And that's it. I mean, Ruth could knock that out in 7 hours.
Yeah, okay.
14 chapters. 14. I have to watch it first, though.
Scott, you have been so much fun. Just so much fun. We had said before we aired tonight that this was going to be a fun show. And it has turned out to be exactly that, just because of you and your delivery and your thoughts and feelings about something that we all enjoy so much, and that is the movies.
Yep.
And I was telling Victoria and Ruth before we came on the air, I said, I just want some popcorn and butter just dripping down to my elbows or something. Feel like that's
Why I should have sold the book with a thing of microwave popcorn.
Yes.
There's time. There's time. Right.
Well, you guys have just been so kind to me, and kindness and friendship and community is what this world needs right now. And I can tell that you guys do that every week, and you've made me a fan of your show. And if I don't get invited to Victoria's 60th birthday, I'm gonna be upset. Okay, I'm gonna burn that bridge over Madison County.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't burn the bridge.
The bridge is getting set on fire.
Thank you so much.
God, thank you so much. And I know Victoria is going to I don't mean to take her spot, but while I'm running my mouth, she's gonna ask, how can people get in touch with you? And how would they, find you? And if they wanted to
Your
find
book
out more
and all
about
that.
you, what would they do?
Yes.
Does Victoria have to ask me, or I just answer it from you?
No.
I don't want to mess up
You
your.
can answer now.
Oh, I can answer it too. You can get my book at tuckerdspress.com or scottryanproductions.com or at your local bookstore.
Yeah.
And you can follow me on Twitter at ScottLuxStory. So
Oh, right.
All right.
I'm out there in the world, and this was just so much fun. I really love your guys' energy. It was
Thank you.
just what I needed today. So thanks for having me as a guest.
Likewise.
Thank you for being with us. And Victoria, I want you to say your favorite thing one more time.
Get the book. Get the book. Get the book. And and if he knows that came from a movie, get the book.
I just want them to get the book.
We can take care of that. We take care of it.
I gotta go watch Tombstone.
Okay, right.
Definitely do. You definitely
I gotta
do.
go find
And
Prince
some way,
Tide.
somehow, get something to Ruth so we'll know what you thought of it.
Yeah,
Inquiring minds want to know. I want to know.
definitely.
And Ruth, you've got something that you always remind us of at the end of the program.
Of course. So if you are interested in learning more about our show, if you have any questions for the host, if you have any questions about how to be on the show, please email us at authorsup@gmail.com. You can follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just look for Authors Up Show. This show will air midweek on YouTube as well as podcasts. So follow us, like us, subscribe. We're here for you.
Very good, and always very well said, Miss Ruth. We thank you for that and keeping us in line with where we should be and what we should be doing. So
All right.
I thank you, Scott, for being with us this evening. Thank you for writing such a wonderful book and putting us in memory of some great cinema, that some of the things we may have forgotten about. And I know I have a list of movies that, sometimes on the weekend you sit around and say, I know I'll call my daughter sometime and say, dude, what's a good movie? Tell me what I can watch. So now I have a whole list of things to go back and see. And I thank you for that. I thank you for that, because there's really been, there have been some things lost in the progression and as we have gone along. And I want to go back and capture some of those things. So thank you so much for writing such a great book and having such wonderful reviews on movies that I have loved and have kind of forgotten about. So I appreciate that.
Oh my goodness. But you wouldn't mind maybe following me around and just throwing compliments at me all day.
I'd say.
I don't know what your plans are tomorrow, but
don't put it out there, because we're subject to do anything. So you turn around one day and you go, oh my God, it's those women from Authors Up.
Yeah, if you're saying nice things to me, I don't care. That's fine. You'll be like, nobody toasts a bagel like that, Scott. I can deal with it.
All right.
Thank you so much for being with us. And
you.
Thank you for having such a great audience tonight. Thank you guys for being here and for making the comments that you did. And always want to thank our live audience and our streaming audience and all of the folks who view or listen week after week. We are here every Sunday night at 7 p.m. We replay every Saturday night at 7 p.m. And we just thank you. We're just grateful to have this opportunity to get together and share some things that may make your life a little lighter and a little easier. So thank you, everyone, for being here. You never, ever know what is going to happen on Authors Up. So you got to come back week after week after week and see what we are up to and listen to the wonderful guests that we have the opportunity to bring to you and their perspective and their books and their stories. So thank you for being with us tonight. That is it for us. We run a little past our time tonight, but hey, we don't care. And we're glad that you come. So come back next week and to see what's happening when you tune in to Authors Up. Good night, Scott. Thanks again.
Good night.
Good night, Bronze Girls.